I gave myself a challenge to create magic items that will make people want to roleplay. And it worked! I was involved in a project about making a bunch of magic items, and some of mine use this idea of facilitating roleplay. The project will be out in a couple of months, so more on that then. Today I want to show you what I mean by this and give you one of the items I made. So, there's a lot of players who, with a little bit of a nudge, a bit of guidance, or some inspiration, would roleplay more. Now, I'm not talking about turning anyone into an improv theater enthusiast. What I mean is, let's set the right conditions for those players to roleplay just a little bit more than they already do. Maybe Alice, who's only ever treated D&D like a board game, decides to tell us how her character feels, even if it's in third person. Or maybe Bob's character decides to write a letter home, telling them not to worry. Again, we are looking for small changes. Ours is just to create an invitation. And hopefully, the players will give it a try and discover they enjoy it. So, how do I plan to achieve this with magic items? The formula is this, and it's simple. You activate the magic item by role-playing. In other words, roleplay is the quote-unquote cost you pay to get the mechanical benefits of the item. Or as my wonderful friend Peter from elsewhere would call it, roleplay input, mechanics output. Okay, we have the formula. Let's see what we can make with it. Here is the art of combat encounters, the first item in this mini-series of roleplay activated magic items. This one's good to start with because it starts them off easy, them being the players who don't roleplay. And the reason this one is easy to use is because it leverages something they're already doing. This item wants them to talk about combat. You see, we have on our hands a thick old book, an ancient treatise on how to properly wage combat encounters. It includes charts, graphs, probability calculations, descriptions of ancient battles, monsters, tactics, strategies, maps, you name it. If the characters use the wisdom in this book to discuss a recent fight they were in, and this is our roleplay input, they get extra experience points for that fight, the numerical mechanics-based reward. Don't worry, you can still use it if you use milestone leveling. We'll touch on variations and limitations. So, if your players are like most players, they talk a lot about combat. The tactics they used, the spells and the abilities, the cool combos. What we do with the art of combat encounters is we just reframe the conversation, so it's done between the characters rather than between the players. And there you have it, mechanical reward for doing a bit of roleplay. And the reward is good. I'm sure most players will jump at the opportunity. And how big should it be? I originally wrote this item as giving 50% extra XP for one fight, and you could only use it once per level. Also, it would take the characters 8 hours of discussion and analysis to earn that bonus XP, meaning they would have to have a bit of downtime to use it. Of course, the players won't roleplay out all 8 hours, unless things go horribly wrong. But don't let them abuse it either by doing a token gesture instead of an actual conversation. Anyway, I like this 50% once per level version best because the players are repeatedly going back to the item and being brought into roleplay, and the reward is substantial but not too crazy. But it's easy to tweak those numbers too. The version you are seeing written out in calligraphy gives double the XP, and it only takes 1 hour of character discussion. Something like that should only have a single use ever. And if you use milestones instead of XP, count the book as the next milestone. If that's too much, like if your players have just leveled up, then bring the next milestone closer. If they were supposed to level up in 2 sessions, let it be next session. Or instead of leveling after the boss fight, they level before the boss fight. I would genuinely love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Is there value in these kind of items? Should I change something? This is my first time talking about this concept in public, so your opinion would be valuable to me going forward. I thank you for your time and hope to see you back again in my tavern.